Lexi is now apologizing profusely. Okay, sorry. All right. So, hi, hey y'all, hey. We are here for another installation of Chat with the Aunties. Occasionally we have technical difficulties, and today was one of those occasions. I didn't have Wi-Fi. Malika was mobile, so we got all kind of stuff going on. But that's what happens. This is real life. This is a real life podcast. This is a live show. So this is what happens. But we are here, we are committed, and we are showing up once again for another conversation with you, with each other, and the auntie. I'm Giovanni, also known as the Lux Libra on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And today I am sipping on some ginger peach tea. Peach because it's still summer, and ginger because that's always good for your insides. So I'm sipping on ginger peach, and I am sipping on it from my beautiful Wrong mug, which I'm so happy about. So that's what I'm sipping on today. Malika, how about you?
Hey, oh, hey. Malika Salam, purple hair and Converse. I think this week I'm going to be Tia Malika. And I am in the car. I am in transit. It has been a crazy whirlwind of a week. So bear with me. Your hope dealer, pushing positivity consistently because hope is dope. Got to get that in there. I have been sipping on green tea, and I actually don't have anything in my hands because, again, the car and mobile. I'm not driving and doing this. Somebody else is doing the driving. But I've been sipping on my own kombucha that I made from green tea. So I have a green tea kombucha, a green tea jasmine kombucha from those wonderful green tea jasmine tea bags that you sent me. So I'm actually on my second batch uh, of my weird little office experiment. Like I'm just making kombucha in my office. Uh, so yeah, that's a thing that's happening. And I am mobile right now because I left school and we're doing all of the pickups and we are on our way to On the Run. And we are literally on the run. So that's me. This is Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, we chat with the aunties.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we are so glad to be at the virtual table for another conversation with the aunties, another chat. So I'm just going to do some shameless promotion. Um, we have been doing lots of work behind the scenes. We have a great team of people that have been working with us, and we got some goodies out here. So, first and foremost, thank you to all of our IG fam that has joined us on YouTube. I see y'all are watching the show on your own time. So, that makes us, aware that we did make a good decision with moving to this platform because now you have us accessible at your convenience and you guys are using that accessibility. So, we appreciate that. Um, in the meantime, in between time, not only have we moved over to YouTube, we also have moved from just the Lux Libra and just Purple Hair and Converse to our joint page, which is Make You Media. Um, and our tagline, which I love so much, Malika gave us, was "We've been here all along." We have done so many different things in so many iterations, but it's always been Giovanni and Malika. So this is just another iteration of that. We've got our introductions on that Instagram page. We've got the new journal prompts are going to go up on that Instagram page. Links to our new website are on that Instagram page, makeyoumedia.com, as well as all the other stuff that we do together. So check our sites out, check our page out. There may be some stuff you need us to do with you. And we're all excited about doing that. So that's my little plug for Chat with the Aunties and Make You Media and all that we do and all of who are. So let's get into this week's topic.
So I want to give one more shout. I want to give a shout out real quick though. So shout out to the hub friend Thur, who is another part of this whole puzzle and what we do here. He made us such a cool promo piece. So if you guys have been watching the page, there's a little video out there, a plug for Chat with the Aunties, and that was courtesy of Quinn McGowan, who is Gio's real life actual husband, who I have co-opted in this relationship as we continue to build brands and businesses and legacy. And so he has done a lot of our branding stuff for us. He's so awesome, and he's like always on our team. Like, hey, are you guys ready to do the thing? Like, this needs to be updated. Give me the thing so I can do the updates. So he is an integral part of our team. Shout out to him for doing that. It is so beautiful. We look so cute. I mean, you know, we're smart. That's great, but we're also cute, and we're really cute cartoons. So check that out. Hit Quinn up. He does commissions. Make sure to support Project Wildfire. So we have added him in our Instagrams. Make sure that you are following him, keeping up with all of the wonderful things that he is doing. I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
His Instagram is Q324. So if you need art, need tattoo, he's great doing tattoos on dark skin.
Yes, I forgot about tattoos. He did this.
Yes, if you need commissioned artwork, if you want to put some stuff up in a gallery, he's got paintings, he's got digital art. I heard he's got some Project Wildfire t-shirts coming soon. And yeah, great artist, very talented, and makes us look great, right? He makes us look so cute.
What is she doing?
So we are always appreciative for that. Thank you. So yeah, I think that's it, Micah.
What up?
All right, excellent. So let's get into it, shall we? While the tea is still piping warm.
Yes. So I'm pulling out my notebook because we had some great points last week about how we show up, about our awareness. You cited Auntie Jada's self-mastery as a term, which is a great title to the syllabus that has become Chat with the Aunties, because we have literally done self-care, self-love, self-respect, you know, all of these different aspects of the self. So I think that's a great title for our chats, you know, and how they've gone. And last week we talked about these transactional relationships, right? And how we may allow ourselves to get caught up in transactional relationships and sell ourselves out, right? Not protect ourselves because we're involving ourselves in transactional relationships, or we're allowing others to be transactional with us. And we left off with the journal prompt: where in your relationships are you transactional, and what relationships might you need to evaluate? So where in your relationships are you transactional, and what relationships might you need to evaluate? So that's where we are with this piping hot tea.
So also, because I'm just gonna pour my whole heart out, because this is where we are on self-mastery in this week and the work that's being done. We were supposed to have Lexi the Great on today, so I want to send lots of love and light. She is in a training today, which is why she is unable to join us. She also has a lot of real life stuff happening right now, and I just want her to know that she has the support of community and tribe, and that we are sending her love and light, and we are holding space for her, and she has all the support that she needs, because that's what we're here for. That's what the aunties are here for. So we miss you, Lexi, and we will be circling back around so you can come and share about this honesty and how it's gotten from Memphis to Nashville, now to California. But these transactional relationships.
Absolutely. Yes. Sans transactional relationships with healthy relationships.
Yes.
So yeah. So we definitely appreciate Lexi the Great's willingness. She's always been a great supporter of Chat with the Auntie. She's always chimed in with great insights. So we can't wait to get her to this table and see what kind of tea she's sipping on, to talk about this syllabus of self-mastery that we're going through. So yes, thank you for taking time to address that, Malika. I appreciate it. So into this self-respect and out of these transactional relationships? What you got?
So I got my whole heart for you. Just gonna put it on the table. Um, so Sunday, I did a self-compassion yoga class. It was a self-compassion yoga workshop, and it was on befriending our body. And I immediately was like, self-compassion. So as we are going through this self-mastery, and we're learning and we're putting these pieces together, everything definitely comes up organically. And I don't always know where it's going to fit in, but I knew that we would need to get to self-compassion next. Like, I felt such a very strong pull to that. And then I had a conversation last night that really highlighted what the journal prompt was about. Because I'm like, right now, I'm not really in a space where I have a lot of transactional relationships. Like, I couldn't say, oh, this relationship is definitely transactional, because part of my work is being very intentional with my relationships, being very selective about where I want to spend my time and who I want to spend my time with, and showing up authentically. So I didn't really have okay, this is where I'm transactional, what I need to do. Like, that's been a part of the work, or so I thought. And then I had this conversation last night that let me know that there was still an important relationship in my life that is transactional, and that I have continued to show up for, even though I am in a very different place. And while I was doing all of this thinking and introspection, your voice just kept coming across. And I was just like, so I'm still dealing with this relationship and who I became in that relationship. And I was being pretty hard on myself. Like, oh my gosh, like, you're not that person. Why are you still functioning like this? Why are you still having these transactions? And self-compassion came back around. And I was able to look at it from a different place. When I was in that relationship, I accepted a lot of things. I saw a lot of red flags that if somebody else saw them, I would tell them that they needed to really evaluate if that's where they wanted to be, if that's the type of relationship they wanted to be in, what was driving them, why did they feel like they deserved, less than who they were. Like, you're you. Why are you putting up with this? Because you're you. But I was not having that conversation with myself, and I started to feel pretty bad about it. Like, so really, you did that. Like, you signed up for that, and you participated in that, and you really felt like that was all you deserved. Well, Malika, you're Malika. And self-compassion. It was like, okay, so we're not in that place anymore. Let's change the conversation. We were in that place. And I recognized that I was in that place. And I recognized that I was participating in some very toxic behaviors. And this work and where I am now would have happened a different way had I not had that experience. Somebody has signed on to be in a relationship because they think that's all they deserve, because they have some shame and some embarrassment, because they are functioning like they're less than, because they've had some missteps. And I can relate because I've been there.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I think in some way we've all sold ourselves short, in some way, whether it be a job, a relationship, an opportunity, a performance, even a test, right? We have to take a test and we don't study for it, and look at what we did. So I think in some way we've all sold ourselves short, but what happens when we sell ourselves short when dealing with other people is the consequences can be so far reaching that we don't even know, like, we don't even have the depth to to comprehend how far reaching the consequences are going to be, because we're thinking, oh, I got this, I can see what's going on, I'm clear on that. And really we are not. Really we're hiding, really we're in fear, really we're devaluing ourselves. Really we're willing to deal with, or we believe that we have to deal with something. I've been seeing a meme a lot lately that says, women don't have to go through hell to prove that they love men. This whole notion, which I feel has been a hallmark of our generation, because I never heard older women talk like this, but this idea of having to be a ride or die chick, right? And I think
I don't know that that's what they called it. I don't know that, my grandmother definitely didn't call it being a ride or die. My aunties didn't call it being a ride or die. But that is a notion that has existed in our community for a long time, right? The strong ones stay. You stick it out. Think about the families where, men had a whole other family on the other side of town, or outside children, right? But grandma or auntie stayed through that.
Mm-hmm.
Ride or die now, but they didn't call it ride or die then. But I think it's been in existence for a while.
Yeah, I think definitely, I definitely feel like this idea of being a long-suffering woman has been in our culture. The idea that even to be a woman means to be long-suffering, that you have to deal with this kind of treatment. I think the whole idea of a ride or die takes that up like 10 levels. Like it means that everything goes on the line and your own safety goes on the line for some BS. Because, if there's a family across town and this person is making sure both families are taken care of and it's a relatively calm life, that's one thing. But if every other week I'm running down to bail you out, or I got to take something over here, or I got to sneak and do this, or I got to fight your other baby mama, or, I got to get my air out of my tires, and, like all of those things, like, I think that's kind of the to me, like, that's the dividing line. Like, there is, okay, yeah, he's got this other woman and everything is peaceful, and then there is, I have nonstop drama all day every day up in my life because I'm dealing with this Negro. So I guess to me that's what the difference looks like, and that could just be generational, but like to me that's what the differences look like. But I was saying that to say that this idea of being long suffering, like I've seen the memes that are saying like, you don't have to be long suffering. You don't have to be a ride or die for a man. Like, this is not, you don't have to prove your loyalty in order to have a good relationship, or in order to move to marriage, or before he commits. And that ideal is where I feel so many of us get told to sell ourselves short and do sell ourselves short. That we have to bend, that our standards are too high, that we want too much, that, again, those personal critiques that we receive that are really just about other people's inferiority complexes, other people's insecurities, and other people's failure to want to grow up and or quote unquote do the right thing. And I feel like that's where we, sell that's where the selling out comes from, right? It's not that I'm too much. It's not that I'm extra. You're just not enough. You need to step your game up. But to say that would be, incredibly inappropriate, even if that's the truth. So what happens is we get told to tone it down, to quiet down, to stop doing the most, to stop being extra, so that other person can feel comfortable. And in their comfort, then they can operate in, whatever dysfunction or dangerous behavior or risky behavior or whatever it is. So when I think about that, I feel like we've all been there. Like, we've all been in some kind of way where we sold ourselves out, where we didn't give what we deserved. And that self-respect piece was really about that. Like, what does it look like to get what you deserve? What does it look like to demand what you deserve? What does it look like to command what you deserve? As opposed to accepting the crumbs, accepting that you have to deal with blah, blah, blah drama, accepting that you have to tone yourself down, make yourself smaller, be quiet. It's kind of like everything Beyonce says in the second song on Lemonade, right? You know, I tried to bend myself, I tried to shape myself, I tried to make myself smaller, I tried to do all these things to be more pleasing to you, right? Where we lose our self-respect. Our self knows I operate on 10. And if I'm dealing with a person that operates on 5, I'm going to constantly have to diminish myself down to 5 to operate at their level. But I operate on 10. Me, I'm 10. And that's where I operate. So I feel like, yeah, it comes up and we may feel we have to do that, but we don't have to do that. What we have to do is recognize that, oh, if I have to operate on 5 to deal with you, you're not who I should be operating with, because I operate on 10s and I need to operate with other people who are operating on 10.
Yeah, absolutely agree. For me, that was really where the conversation started about self-esteem. Uh, so one of our girls was asking about a person dating, and she kept asking my opinion. And I was like, well, I think that if you're asking my opinion and you're wanting me to pull cards, you're wanting to get some clarity, you already know. And the answer was very much, this is where we were starting to have that self-esteem conversation a lot. And it's like, okay, why are you choosing the person that you have questions about? So again, this takes us right back to the self-esteem conversation and what the drive was. At that point in her life, she believed that that was the person she was. The red flags were there. She was waiting for confirmation from somebody else. It's like, no, you already know. You can already see it. So what is it about you and what you think about yourself and what you feel about yourself? Because that's really what it comes down. So yes, if I'm a 10 and I operate on 10, I'm going to let you know that that's what I am. And do that unapologetically and not just in the romantic relationships, right? So a lot of times we're told these things about how we're supposed to function in romantic relationships, but then on our job, it's like, well, this is the job and I'm not the supervisor or the boss or the whatever. So let me tone it down on my job or in my friendship. I really want to be friends with this person. Um, and we don't function in the same way. And so let me tone it down in this friendship. So we're not practicing this in different areas of our life, right? So we get it in one area, and it's like a lot of times it's the romantic area that we're questioning. But really, we have to question it with friendships too, right? Are we in the same place? Do we want the same things? Are we speaking the same language? And knowing that when you are not in that place anymore, it is okay. You don't have to hang on to that relationship. That is transactional. Well, I said we were friends, and so I have to be here, even though this no longer fits for me. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to continue to do the things that I've been doing, even though I've outgrown. But who tells us this stuff? Like, who's having these conversations with us so that we are sure that it is okay to do that and not feel bad and not feel guilty, right? How much of what we do in these relationships is governed by guilt or by fear? I'm afraid that if I do it, then I'll be seen differently. Or I'm afraid if I do it, I'll lose this relationship. Maybe you won't lose the relationship. Maybe what needs to happen is the relationship needs to change. And you need to give yourself that opportunity and the other person that opportunity. Maybe if you move out of the way, it will allow that person to have more room for their growth. And maybe you guys will meet up later. Um, so I'm just again, I'm kind of just working all of this out because it's just been coming so fast in real life. It's like, oh, okay, self-respect. You got that piece. Now self-compassion. And now that you understand that you've been that person and you've functioned in a place of toxicity and that, there was no good guy and no bad guy in this, like every person played their part and their role. Now you've got to compassionately deal with that. Now you've got to be able to talk to yourself and say, I'm not a bad person. I was in a bad place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely have to be able to say, I forgive myself for the choices that I made when I was in that place and I had this limited level of knowledge. And now that I'm in a different place and I have a new level of knowledge, I'm willing to behave differently and operate in the new knowledge. But I think we don't learn how to do that. I think we don't learn how to forgive. I think we are told to forgive. I think we hear about forgiveness maybe as a possibility or as a part of how things operate. Again, I grew up in, the Christian church. So I heard about forgiveness all the time. But I never knew until I was much older how forgiveness actually operated and that I could forgive myself, that it was something I could give myself, that I didn't have to wait for, some other person to come along and say, hey, it's okay that you made that mistake. It's okay that you operated in that way when all you knew was to do this, this, and this. Or it's okay that you operated in that way because you were trying to get something you needed, right? If you experience something over and over and something seems like a remedy to that and you run to what seems like the remedy and you find out it's not the remedy, it's okay that you thought you were trying to get what you needed, that you were trying to meet a need. But I never remember actually being taught until much later and until doing my spiritual work that, hey, there is a protocol for this, that you can forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made then because you thought you were getting what you needed. And once it proved to not be what you needed, it's okay to walk away from that. And you don't have to stay in the mistake forever. And also, you don't have to keep punishing yourself for making the mistake. You can just have a clean stop and say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. This is what I'm going to do moving forward. And I'm going to be very compassionate and gentle with myself so that I can recover from the consequences of that earlier mistake and move forward in a healthier way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's a practice. Like that's a practice, and that's something we definitely have to be taught. I don't think it comes naturally. I don't think even, like I said, I grew up in the church and I heard about forgiveness all the time. I read about it all the time in the Bible. But as far as having an actual experience of forgiveness, having an actual even script, right? What I just said, like, how do I forgive myself? That's something that definitely didn't come until much later. So when I think about doing this show for my nieces, when I think about doing this show for my godchildren, when I think about doing this show for other women, when I think about doing this show for our coaching clients, I definitely would want them to leave with the understanding that you absolutely are worthy of forgiveness. You absolutely can forgive yourself. And the way forward in that forgiveness is definitely through compassion, what you just talked about.
And so when you said the way forward, my God. So all this stuff was happening a couple of years ago. And I read The Way Forward is with a Broken Heart by Alice Walker. And that is something that I always go back to because it really is that. It's kintsugi, right? It's the art of filling in the broken pieces with gold. The self-compassion is gold. There are pieces of us that have been broken. Life will do that too. Self-compassion is giving yourself what you so easily give to others. That kindness, that gentleness, knowing that you can, fill in those broken pieces so that you can move forward in a healthy way. Um, that, oh, yeah, my heart. Just having to slow down and remind myself that I am not that person. I am not the things that I have done. I am not the things that I have been through. I am doing the work. And so I am a work in progress. I am not perfect, and my flaws don't make me less than. Being able to have those conversations, being able to really start to view ourselves through a different lens, knowing that it doesn't stop at the mistake, that it doesn't stop at the misstep, that even when that happens, that you don't always go all the way back to square one and start to have to, do the whole thing over again. The way forward is with the broken heart. You can go forward right from where you are right now. And part of that process is giving yourself the compassion.
And that you are worthy of it. That's the other piece. I think about, I'm a true crime junkie. So I watch all the detective shows. I watch all the forensic shows. I watch all the jail shows. And occasionally, there will be people on there who they are forgiven by their victims. People who have committed a crime, they're forgiven by the victim's family and horrendous crimes, right? Like all the way up to including death. But they're forgiven by the family, or they're forgiven by the victim's family, or they have some sort of experience which creates a change for the victim and the person doing the crime, the perpetrator, and they get forgiven. And it's like, well, this person committed a crime against society or against a whole nother person, and all of society or a whole nother group of people have decided to forgive them. But we have a hard time even forgiving ourselves for crimes that we commit against ourselves, for violations of ourselves that we do, and I'll never forgive myself for that. I'll never get over blah, 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 blah. And I came face to face with that this year, recently, this month. My youngest biological child is a senior in high school now. And I really began to reflect on, the circumstances of his birth, the relationship I was in at that time, all of the toxicity, the addiction, the insanity, the controlling, the manipulation, and realizing that I have been holding on to a lot of the weight of that for a very long time, even though the relationship had been over for years. It was over with pretty much immediately after he was born. Even though I've been away from this person for years, even though I had been in numerous healthier relationships for years. The weight of that, like really having to sit down and say, it's okay that you made that choice. It's okay that you didn't have the insight and the foresight. It's okay that you were rebellious and didn't listen to other people who said, I don't think so. It's okay that you had to follow this out to your satisfaction, until you knew that this is absolutely not going to work, and walk away then. It's okay that you had those character flaws that made that attractive to you. It's okay that you found that attractive. It's all okay, because a long time ago, you made a different decision. You went in a different direction. You walked a different path. And the kids are all right. Believe it or not, the kids are all right. And for whatever things they're not all right for, you know how to handle those things, right? You know how you have a literal tool book full of resources, a literal community full of resources, a literal lifetime of knowledge. You have all the things that you need to live well and to thrive. And, my children are thriving. They're free thinking, they're creative, they're interesting people, they have their own interests. And it's okay. Like, it's really okay. And really accepting that, like fully accepting that, not saying it's okay, but I got to do this one more thing to prove that it's okay, or it's okay, but I just need to make sure that everybody knows this one thing, or it's okay, and I've been trying to cover up this thing, but just, nope, it's okay. It's flat out absolutely okay. And you have the freedom to move forward in a different direction, a new choice. You have new knowledge. And the other piece that came up was I found that I was able to help so many people. I got a crisis call from someone who is, their marriage is falling apart. And, I had to say, oh, well, here are the things that I went through. So I'm here to let you know it's going to be okay. I had to say, oh, well, here are the things that happened. And I'm here to let you know you can move past this. So also knowing that whatever you're going through, if you are open to it teaching you, it can teach you, and it can be a tool that you can use to help other people as well. That's the other piece that I have to include in that, that whatever we're going through, we're not going through it alone. It can also serve to help other people as well.
So we've got a few more minutes before we wrap up. So there are a couple of closing thoughts that I had. One, in regards to helping other people, that is definitely great. I always love to bring the focus back to the individual, because my judgment is that we've spent a lot of time doing for others, and I really want everybody to get the message that it is okay to do for yourself. As a matter of fact, it is more than okay to do for yourself. As a matter of fact, if you do for yourself, then you are way more effective for other people. If you take care of you first, you never have to worry about serving from an empty vessel, because you make sure that you are always on full, and then you can serve from the overflow. So this conversation also started around the idea of self-care. So one of the things that Dr. Kristen Ness talks about in terms of self-compassion, when she breaks down kind of what self-compassion is and what it isn't, and kind of the 3 markers of self-compassion. And I think this one is really important. When we're talking about being okay and I'm okay, before we get to okay, there's going to be some times where you're not going to be okay. And it is important to acknowledge those times. We don't want to get past those times. We don't want to be a meme where we're sitting in the house and the house is on fire and we're going, everything is fine. It is okay to acknowledge when everything is not okay. When everything is not okay. When you are not okay and everything is not fine. And in that moment, what self-compassion looks like is saying, this is really difficult right now. How can I care for myself? What is it that I need in this moment? That's what real self-care looks like. And maybe in that moment, you need tea, a bubble bath, and Jesus. Maybe in that moment, you need counseling. Maybe in that moment, you need to get your finances in order so that you can have an exit strategy. Maybe in that moment, you need to be present with your spiritual practice, or you need to lean in to your support. So again, there's all of these things on our wheel of wellness that may need to be attended to. Pick the one that is prevalent for you. Prioritize. That is what self-care looks like. You will get to okay. Doing the work, you will be able to move forward. When it is difficult, acknowledge that it is difficult. That is also part of moving forward and part of self-care.
Absolutely. Because being honest with yourself is a form of self-respect. Being honest with yourself and others, right? That keeps us out of transactional relationships. Being honest with ourselves and others, helps to keep us accountable, keep us clear, helps to keep us operating in authenticity. So absolutely. Being honest with yourself and giving yourself what you need so that you can move forward, so that you can operate in integrity, in authenticity. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we are getting very close for us to wrap up. and we are crossing the bridge, and I think my service getting a little choppy. Um, so I've definitely covered all of the ground that I could cover in the time that we had. I appreciate you continuing to hold space, continuing to show up with me every week so that we can work through all of these things and put our hearts on the table and get new understandings and get to, new levels of wellness. I am deeply appreciative of that.
Thank you. And I'm so appreciative of you, of your time, of your brilliance, of your willingness to show up and shine and to have these difficult conversations in public and on record so that other people can learn and grow and flourish as we are. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say thank you to everybody for joining us. I think Malika is still unmuting, but thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. Check out our pages, Purple Hair and Converse, purplehairandconverse.com, The Lux Libra, theluxlibra.com, and Make You Media and makeyoumedia.com. Those are our names and websites across all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, maybe even a Tumblr. And Facebook. So thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to subscribe to Make You Media on YouTube. Be sure to leave some comments in the comment section and be sure to like this video. Give us a thumbs up. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all. Bye.
All right, y'all. It's been real. I will catch you guys on the other side of being on the run.
Tell Beyonce I
bye, y'all. Bye.